So you want to buy a Bluetooth headset? Well, you've come to the right place because in this episode, we're reviewing the best noise canceling Bluetooth headsets for outdoor usage. Hit the intro, maestro. Hey, and welcome to What the Tech. And it looks like my camera decided to take a day off. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. There we go. We're back. And we're back. So I'm Rolando, the founder of Global Tech Worldwide. And sometimes you have things like that when you go live. Little glitches, but we roll with the punches. And if you've not seen our podcast before, right here on What the Tech, we talk about tech, community, and events affecting the business community. But before we jump into all of the reviews and all of the wonderful clips that we have for you today, I need to bring out my brother over in New England. His name is Dave Kelly. Woo, Dave.
Hold on. Man, I hope my camera stays focused. Listen, I'm really excited to be here. We have a great show. I did not approve that thumbnail. I took a lot of crap online looking like Tom Selleck. I promise.
Is that right?
I promise. I won't do it again. A little identity.
I think it was a YouTube face that we grabbed that clip from. I don't know. We'd have to ask Ori what was going on there.
No one approves of that. No one we work with. No one in my personal life. So I get a lot of crap.
Ori, you gave him a lot of grief with that thumbnail.
Too funny. So so listen, this episode, Rolando, back in January, we tested several headsets, right. And it got a high amount of engagement. So we decided let's revisit it and provide some updates.
Right.
We did a review. It was great. There were a couple of technical issues that we were working on because it was one of our very early on episodes.
Yes, I remember that.
But I think this will go very well. We're going to show some demos that we had done outside. Love the demos. I think people really appreciate it because it really gives them a real idea of what the products are all about.
Yeah, and that's what people were saying on some of the comments as well as emails that we got, that they liked the fact that they could see the product in usage rather than just here's the specs, here's what the manufacturer says. So we want to bring you more of that. So let us know if that's what you want to see.
Yeah,
we'll
so listen,
serve it up. Go ahead, Dave.
So before we jump into the demos, first, let's hit a trivia question, which I'm sure I will get incorrectly.
Maybe you get it right.
All right, so we love two truths and a lie. Two of these statements are true. Like the other is false. Two of them are true. One is false. Which is it? Number one, the Big Bang was likely the loudest sound in history.
Okay.
Number two, the loudest noise in recorded history is Krakatoa, erupting in 1883.
Wow. Okay.
Or number three, in 1933, Paul Leeuwig proposed to silence sound waves by simultaneously generating waves of the exact opposite orientation. Very interesting.
Put on your scientific hats. And hopefully you reviewed this in your science classes.
So two truths and a lie. You know what? Being that we are audio experts, we know a lot about sine waves. So I'm kind of leaning towards one of these being true. As far as the others, I guess we'll have to find out at the end of the show.
Right. Okay. Well done, Dave. Thank you for that trivia, keeping us on our toes. So as Dave said, back in January, we tested a bunch of, 6 devices that were noise-canceling Bluetooth headsets. And we decided to go back and actually update you on some of this because there's been some changes as well as some things that we've discovered now that we've had almost 11 months of using some of these devices. So if you happen to be on the live today, I encourage you to chime in with a chat if you'd like, if you have any specific questions. Otherwise, if you're watching us during the playback, sit back and relax. You're in for a good one. So let's start. We're going to do this a little differently, Dave. Normally, when people do these types of reviews, they start in the worst performing to the best performing. You know what? We are going to change that up and give you the best performing one first so you can see which one was the least best performing, if we could say that in a nice, kind way.
Hey, it's kind of like your parents giving you the biggest Christmas gift when you were a kid first. They always save that one for last. We're going to change it around.
We're going to change it around. Why? We could do what we want, right? So let's start off at number one. And so after testing multiple Bluetooth headsets, we found a clear winner when it comes to noise canceling. Now, a lot of other things we could have measured, but what we were after was pure sound and audio quality. What allows your voice to be heard the best? And so at number one, performing the best in this review is the BlueParrot B350. Ori, let's roll that footage.
B350 out for a test. Fairly nice day, sunny. Decide you want to take a walk, but you don't want to let people know when you are outside because of the wind. Or in this case, as you can see, cars going by. So motorcycles make a lot of noise, and we want to see if this BlueParrot holds up to that. It's about as close as we could get to the road without being on the road and being flattened, and have cars all going by, and hopefully nobody needs to know that you're outside taking a walk. So if you happen to want to be outside on that nice, beautiful day, wherever you are in this country or any country for that matter, and you don't want to let people know that you're outside. So this is the BlueParrot B350.
Hey, Dave, did you, so Ori highlighted that Ducati that was racing by. Like, if you were there when that was being taped, let me tell you, it was loud. It was like, and I thought, man, that is going to make it. And actually, as that was being filmed, I think that Ducati had circled by a few times. So I don't know if it was keeping tabs on what I was doing or something.
And there was a ton of cars. I saw that motorcycle. There may have been another one as well. You know what's crazy is when you're having conversations in those environments with a good headset, it's important to keep your poker face on. You don't have to necessarily let the people know that you're speaking to, if you're in a meeting, whatever it might be, that you're outside. With a product like this, I love that microphone. I would have had no idea that you were outside. You would not have had to apologize. You would not have had to tell me that you were outside. If I closed my eyes, I just would have thought that you were just in a quiet office environment. I think it did an awesome job, and it should have scored as well as it did.
And there we go. There's the shot of that Ducati going by. It really was distracting. And that's the hardest thing when you're doing some of these things is to, like you said, keep your poker face, because I was positive that noise was in the footage.
Yeah.
And before we keep going, I want to give a quick shout out to Neil Flooster, who is joining us. He's the true head honcho, the boss, the godfather of the lives for this industry. So Neil, if you're still watching us, kudos to you, Sam, and everybody in your crew. We give love to you guys. So we actually get inspired by some of the stuff that you guys have
we
on
love
there.
your content. Good job.
Lots of love from our team to your team. So I was impressed that this made it in there. I should say the noise didn't make it in there. And by the way, Neil, we're going to get to Plantronics and Poly products, so stay tuned if you're watching that. It was so loud, Dave, and I could not believe how distracting it was. There was, I think, somewhere in that footage, a car actually zipped by me to my left of my shoulder, and I actually turned the camera to look at it, and when I was listening to it as we're watching it now, not a peep. And that's how a really good headset should perform. If it doesn't eliminate all, it should be almost all eliminated or not discernible. So the person you're talking to, that, oh yeah, you have a blender on, you have there we go. I actually turned it to that car because I thought, well, that'll make it, and it didn't make it in the footage, as you saw as well.
It's not the prettiest headset.
Right.
I will admit, you look like an airline pilot.
I'm about to fly in the 747. Got it right in.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I do like wearing this headset and using it when I'm paired up to a cell phone, but I don't love leaving the office with it. And people look at me, but that's why I want to go to the next product. And this is my favorite product.
Right. This one could win some fashion awards.
So the next product that we're going to highlight at number 2 with the outdoor walking test is the Poly/Plantronics Voyager 5200 UC. It looks great. It has a charging case. It has wonderful talk time, battery life. There's many different size earbuds, wearing options for the people, unlike the one that we just showed with the BlueParrot. But before we dig a little bit more into that, Ori, why don't you roll the video for the 5200 UC?
Taking the Plantronics 5200 UC version. I'm walking purposely very close to the road. So we want to see if a lot of that road noise makes it into the microphone versus my voice, which is what you want to have. If you go out for a stroll, like on a nice day today, trees, birds, or maybe you're working from home and you're tired of looking at your four walls, including everything inside the home. So this should give you a really good idea. This microphone performs as advertised. That is one of the things that Plantronics claims, that on this microphone, you actually have some wind blocking capabilities, in addition to some noise blocking features with the multiple microphone array that is built into this headset. All right, now this is the Plantronics 5200 UC taken out for a little spin on the road.
I was closing it, and I think you're on mute. So, did you notice that last silver car that went by me on my left shoulder?
Yeah.
You didn't even hear it. Yeah, you didn't hear it at all. Yeah, this one that's coming by on my left. And it seems like, and maybe we should bring in Neil Flooster, and he could tell us what happened. There's maybe a 500 millisecond delay, and then the noise canceling kicks in, and then it doesn't, you don't hear any of that background noise. But like you said earlier, this is a really good headset. It's a lightweight headset. You want to be outside. You don't want to look like you're flying a plane or at a drive-through. I've taken it to events, because you look good. You look good in it. It is going to win some fashion awards. But not only that, it performs very well. This one comes, the 5200 UC comes with a Bluetooth dongle. So if you plan on using this with a computer, you've got what you need in order to use it with a computer. We do have an update since we did film this, and I do want to share. Why don't we throw a pro tip in there, Ori? Pro tip numero uno for the day. When you use the 5200 UC and you use it with a computer, use that dongle. You will get much better audio. So I've got a dongle here. And along with this pro tip, I can tell you something that we have just recently launched that can give you better range when you're using the 5200 UC. So plug that bad boy into what we call the Blue Beacon. It's the Bluetooth range extender for when you're using your dongle with your computer. I've used it right here in my house, and I couldn't go as far as my kitchen, which is about 20, maybe 30 feet away from here. Yep. All the monitors and plants and everything around me would block the signal. But now I can go clear to the front door. So if you're finding you're getting choppy signal, you're getting bad audio, or just flat out bad range, Blue Beacon will take care of you. So pro tip, use the Blue Beacon when you can, and we'll throw some links in the description as well. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Dave. Take it away.
So back with the 5200, this thing has a lot of things that other products in the industry simply don't give you. It has a charging case that has an internal battery, which is great for folks that are on the road. If you're in the office, it sits upon the charging case. So a nice little stand. Love it. Perfect. And then it can also charge independently with a mini, is it mini or micro USB, just directly into the headset. And if you had a car charger or wall charger, you can charge it like that. So multiple options to charge it. I think it's 14 plus hours of talk time. Again, the multiple wearing styles, the microphone array, solid product for the folks that are just kind of splitting their time between in and out of the office.
Right. And I see And Neil's got a comment on here, which thank you, Neil, for the micro USB, as well as this bad boy. You can wear on both ears. So in the video that we're shooting, that video, you're showing it on my left ear. All you got to do is simply flip the boom around over to the other side and reverse it. And now you've got it on the right. So you can wear it on both sides, right or left. And you're good. You're good to go. And, oh, yeah, Dave, we might as well drop my case here. One thing, if you're interested in that 5200, one of the questions that does come through customer support quite a bit is, where's that dongle? And it's located, it's right in the case. And mine is still, this is one of my demo units. It's still in the package here. It's right in here. There's a compartment where it goes. So it stores itself right in here. So if you're looking at the 5200, like it, and then you're like, where is that dongle? It's right inside that charging case. So if you didn't get the charging case, you probably didn't get the dongle. All right.
And that dongle is sold separately. So if you happen to purchase the non-UC version of the Poly Voyager, contact us and we can get you the dongle so that you can use it for your soft phone and your video calls.
Well said, Dave. Well said. Now, coming in at number 3 on our list of best noise canceling Bluetooth headsets is the EPOS by Sennheiser, which is EPOS was formerly Sennheiser. It's kind of complicated. Like some relationships, it's kind of complicated. But trust me, it's called EPOS now. It was Sennheiser. It's the exact same hardware, the exact same software, just the label on it has changed. And on the product, it may have even both names depending on which product you're purchasing from EPOS. So, Ori, let's roll the footage on the EPOS-Sennheiser Presence Bluetooth headset.
Presence from Sennheiser, the Presence UC Bluetooth headset, out for a spin as well. We're going to take a nice little stroll, see if we get some really good noise canceling properties on this Bluetooth headset. It's supposed to block out some noise. Well, let's see. We're out here by an intersection. We've got wind blowing, we've got cars going. People should just hear your voice rather than everything else around you. That's the way it should work. But not every headset is built that way. That's why we do these tests. And as we keep walking here, we see that we've got some wind. Let's spin it around to the back. You see those trees moving? We've got some wind moving. I'll be a little quiet. See if we get noise on this microphone.
Did we run into a little tech issue there?
No, I think we got to the end of that. I was just chuckling because we're trying to show that it's windy. How do you do that? Yeah, showing a tree moving is the only way that I could really think about it.
That's right. And it was that day where the wind was whipping around. If you notice some of the trees towards the end there, Ori, when you get to the last 10 seconds or so, whip around and you see the trees. It's really whipping around. So this did a decent job. Not as good as the Plantronics, or Poly, not as good as the BlueParrot, but it did a decent job and better than the other ones that we're going to highlight here. So it was worthy of a third spot instead of fourth, fifth, or sixth, because it did block some of that noise out, some of the road noise, just not as much as the other products that we just highlighted.
And one thing to point out, if you look at these first 3 headsets, 3 totally different form factors.
Correct.
Over the head, behind the ear, and I guess this one would be considered an on the ear or an ear hook style.
The both of these do hook around the ear, the number 2, so the Poly one and the EPOS, and they do have like a little ear bud that goes in the ear. So you could call it in the ear, you call it around the ear. Mm-hmm. It depends on who you ask.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? People have their preference. There's some folks that just gravitate towards one particular style. So if you're looking at any of these first 3 styles, they all sound great. But somebody had to be a winner. Someone had to be number 1, even if it's just by a fraction of a point.
Right. And let's point out some of the difference here at number 3 with the EPOS, and that is that They claim they get 10 hours of battery on one charge. So that's slightly more on one charge than the 5200, less than the B350, but there's no travel charger. And for those people that are on the road, like myself or others that travel, or maybe they talk all day long, you want that extra added insurance that comes with that travel charger. And that's quite unique to the 5200. So there's no travel charger on the EPOS, but you're going to get about 10 hours of talk time on the EPOS Presence UC. And again, the important thing is the UC in all of these. The UC indicates that you get that dongle, so you're getting a dongle as well with the EPOS Presence, Dave.
Yep. So now moving on, Rolando. So we have 3 more products that we're going to highlight and do some demos of. The next 2 have the sleekest form factor here. So now we're looking at kind of the earbud style, really discreet, small product. You really don't want to advertise at all that you're using a headset to the people that are around you. Sometimes folks are using earbuds just for music, but they do have other functions, including using them for phone calls and voice communication. So for number 4, we're going to do some tests, and we're going to show you the Jabra Evolve 65T earbuds. So Ori, roll that footage.
Of 65T wireless earbuds. See, they fit pretty good as I'm walking around. We've got cars going by over here to my far left. I don't see any cars coming up from behind me right now, but this should give you a pretty good idea of what it sounds like as you're walking at a normal pace, if it's also picking up that background noise from those cars. Hopefully this thing is picking up more of my voice than cars. You be the judge. Let us know what you think. Across this intersection, let's see if we're picking up a lot more cars than voice. Does it hold up to the big boys, to the other noise-canceling headsets on the market? Let's find out.
All right. Love the car honking. You can't script that, right? It's on cue.
Like perfect.
It's as if it was timed, right? To like, here's the noise. Burp burp.
And that noise, so the noise did find its way through, through their microphone or their microphone array.
From the beginning, actually, you could start you immediately, especially when you're comparing this to the ones we've already seen,
right,
you can notice that right away there's a difference at the moment you start talking. And so although these are this style is very popular, you could see that I think, this is my opinion, maybe Jabra could tell us, that having a recessed boom, I mean all the way up in the ear, when it comes to blocking out noise, may not be the most favorable type of model in terms of physics, right? The closer the boom to your mouth, the better the audio should be. But in this case, it's all the way up in your ear with an earbud.
Right. Now, you know what? You consider the folks that are using headsets like this. They may not be, 5+ hours on the phone. Their job may have nothing to do with the phone, but every now and then they need to communicate. They need to be on that meeting, whatever it might be. These are great for those types of users. Real casual user, you might be out and about, you might be in your home. It'll do a decent job blocking out some of that background noise, but maybe just not as good as some of the other products that we've reviewed. But it's still a really good product. I love how it looks. I love how they sound. I love their waterproof capabilities and their talk time and their charging case. But if I was talking a lot in noisy environments, this one probably wouldn't make the cut.
I agree, Dave. And that's why we have totally different products in this lineup, because people want to know earbuds and they use earbud style. They want to know industrial strength and they want that casual look. And so that's why we pitted all 6 of these so that you can decide if that noise level is acceptable to you. I guess, Dave, if you're using this mostly for personal use, like you said, maybe somebody working out. I know a lot of earbud models and different manufacturers that make them are really pushing that workout, that CrossFit, use it for that type of use. And if you're streaming music, 90% of the time, you're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But in that case that you do need to make a phone call, that's why we wanted to show you what you actually sound like when you're on a call.
Yeah, so
All
it's a great product. Jabra has some other newer products that they're launching up, which are also earbud style. So we'll do some reviews on those shortly.
Yep. We've got some updates coming up with some new ones. Thanks, Dave. And at number 5, this was one of the biggest surprises of all, because this is by far probably the most reviewed headset on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon, you'll see over 100,000 reviews. No other company has that many reviews on their product, at least in this little industry, when it comes to that. So we wanted to actually put it to the test. Now, let's let Ori roll the footage, and then we'll offer our comments on the other side. Go ahead, Ori.
AirPods plugged in. You can see we've got our road behind us. We've got our dog with us. She's coming along as well. And let's give this a shake. See how it sounds as cars come approaching. All right, we've got some road noise here. We've got cars. Do you hear my voice? Does it sound good? Does it not sound so good? All right, so we've got some cars approaching. This will be a good test as we walk down here. And cars are coming by. And I keep talking and let you see if this actually will sound pretty good. Let us know. See what you think.
Surprise, surprise, Ori. Dave, you know, if you turned on the TV in the last 18 months, you see this pair of earbuds everywhere. Mm-hmm. Every interview pretty much that shows anybody, you know, at home or some location that's not in a studio, they're wearing this headset 9 times out of 10. And
well, when I leave the house, 9 times out of 10, I'll see one out of every 10 people walking around in public with these in their ears.
Right.
They're so popular. People love them.
Popular, the brand name, you know, and I have a pair of them here. Obviously, I've played with a bunch of these headsets. The incoming audio. So if you're just putting this on for music, Dave, it is really impressive. The audio that comes in when you're using it for such a small form factor. I was really surprised. I'm not a huge Apple products person, so I don't have all of their gadgets. I have a few, but I was really impressed, and I could see why people like them. But like with all of our tests, especially this one, how do you sound is important, especially if you're on a call. And I'm surprised, really. We had Sam on a couple of weeks ago, and we asked him about this because he says, "Oh, I can't even stand it. I can't stand something like that." If I'm screwing up your words, Sam, you can come on and give us a comment exactly what it was. But it was something like, yeah, it drives him crazy to see these AirPods in people's ears when they're doing interviews because the sound quality is not really great. You know, these are designed for music, and you're listening to listening to our podcast, hopefully What the Tech, and other things like that are on your phone. But when it comes to conversations, they're good for calling grandma. They're really good for calling a loved one. But if you're outside walking around, that's what you get. I mean, there's virtually no noise filtering, no wind blocking. There is none of that when you're using the AirPods, which is kind of, I'm surprised, but they weren't designed for that, Dave.
Exactly.
I don't believe they're designed as much for communications as the other devices that we highlighted at the top of the show.
I'll tell you, I mean, that's branding at its best. You don't have to have the best product if you have a brand like Apple. So, hey, kudos to them. One thing I do want to point out, you know, at the height of the pandemic, when you turned on the news and all of the newscasters were at their homes working from home, and you'd see those, sometimes they sounded good to us on the other end. And I think what they're doing is they're using the earbuds for their receive audio, but their transmit audio, they probably have some sort of an external microphone because even, you know, I mean, Fox News or CBS or ABC, they must have realized, hey, listen, there's the audio quality needs to be improved. How do we do it? add in a professional microphone and you're good. But again, I mean, the folks that are wearing these, they're using them so that they can listen. They're not using them so much for phone calls. And if you leave your house and you stick these in your ear with no intention of streaming audio, you're just putting them in as decoration.
Yep.
You're at the bottom of this list because that's just silly to me. But that's just my opinion. It's not a fashion accessory. They look silly. You don't have to tell everybody that you have Apple AirPods.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes. Maybe it's also Scott Galloway had a very good analysis when he was talking about the Apple brand, and if you have an iPhone, it's a status symbol, versus Android. And he said he likened it to like having a Porsche. You're announcing to everybody you have a Porsche, and I wonder if the Apple AirPods are an extension of that, because you're saying, hey, I've got an earbuds in my ear, therefore I'm have an iPhone in my pocket. I have the Porsche of mobile phones in my pocket. And so it's a way to advertise what you got, right? As a stat, not just the AirPods, but also the iPhone.
I'll take the Poly over that any day.
Here.
And I'll brag about my Poly.
Well, then that leads us to number 6. Dave, take it away.
This was a real fun one to do. We know that there's very inexpensive products out there.
Right.
We don't sell them because we don't like to sell product that doesn't meet our high standards. But we got our hands on this product. So this is at the number 6 spot in our list. And this is from MPOW-Vont. And Ori, why don't you take it away for this demo?
Video, we're gonna do a test with the Vont Bluetooth headset. It retails for around $30, so it bills itself as a very affordable Bluetooth headset for those that want noise canceling properties. So I'm outside, walking out, and fairly windy day. It's not terribly windy. Not toppling over. There's no trees falling, but you can see that we clearly have a windy day. Not sure if that audio from the wind blowing by is actually making it into the microphone, but we want to see. We've got cars going by, so we want to see if that road noise makes it into this test, because if people can hear, there we go, if people can hear all this stuff in the conversation, they probably aren't hearing you very well. So this is the Vont Bluetooth headset, the outside test.
That you could hear pretty much everything that was going on, and at the moment where that was being taped, there's just no way, because you don't know what's being recorded.
Right.
But you could tell the moment you start talking, you're outdoors and you hear the cars. I mean, even if you close your eyes and started listening, you can make out those sounds.
Yeah, right away. I remember when I'm.
Oh, and wait a minute.
Let's see from Neil.
And by the way, if those don't know Neil, he's over at in the UK. It's probably 6:30 over there, mate. Oh, no, that's the wrong country. I'm just terrible with English accents, so I know. What is it that they say? No, it's not mate. That's Australia.
Don't say governor. I don't know either. But what Neil's pointing out here is exactly what I was going to say. It looks like a call center headset. They took no. It's like they didn't sit down and say, let's consider that people are out in public. The form factor wasn't considered. They actually have a version of this headset that works on telephones, just a regular desk phone product. They sell it for very cheap, even if I'm not even sure if it's still available. When I was looking for a dog trainer, I spoke with a dog trainer and I had to cancel the conversation, and we kept it in email. And when I went up to sign up my dog and meet with them, they had this and on their desk.
Oh, really?
And silly me, and I know my wife is rolling her eyes, but I had to talk. I had to ask about it. And he said, yeah, it works okay, you know. And he said, well, what do you sell? And I was telling him what we sell. He's like, so what do those sell for? And when I told him how much, he immediately said, no, it's not worth it to us. We don't spend that much time on the phone. I'll stick with my $40 headset. It's fine. You know what? Every time I had gone back up there, it was never being used. I saw them having phone conversations.
I'm sure that's probably why, because the call quality is horrible. People can't hear you. And if you're having a hard time using a headset, or people are telling you, I don't really hear you well, I hear all the dogs barking, right? You're not going to use that no matter what it is. If people are telling you you can't be heard well, over time you get it. It's not going to ever be used for anything other than maybe to be hands-free at the moment you got to type or something like that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, if extremely low budget solutions are what you're looking for a super casual user, you might be okay with this particular product. But again, if you're a serious user, you want some great audio, look at some of the other products that are on this list.
Right.
Do yourself a favor.
You reminded me of something important, Dave. So we've have 3 different distinct tests that we've done. They're not all part of this particular episode, but we have an indoor test with this. And we have an in-car test with all of these as well. And I think, Dave, it's time to revise those that lineup, because there's some new products, and we know that customers have asked for more of these kinds of tests with other products. So in the near future, if you're watching this, don't know if you're watching this on the live or on the playback, we've got something in the works for all of you that have requested different products. So stay tuned.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. The manufacturers are launching new products. And you know what? That doesn't happen every month. You know, these manufacturers, these are commercial solutions. They don't have to come out with a new product every month for it to be great. And I'll tell you, that 5200 series, so incredibly popular.
It is. And we're selling it like hotcakes. So you brought up another good point, Dave. I don't know, maybe Neil could jump in and tell us a little more, but we don't have the other guys as well to give us their take on it. But there are issues this year going in all the way into 2022. So if you're watching now, or you're watching sometime closer to the holidays, you may want to act fast, because the shipping shortage, the chipset shortage, the glass shortage, all of these products are in high demand and putting stress on the supply chain. And some of these may be available. Hopefully Neil tells, yep, we've got tons and tons and tons and tons available, but maybe not. We don't know, but we do know. I could tell you for certain, every manufacturer of some electronic product is increasing their lead time, and some have gone out as far as 16 weeks. So if you ordered something today, get it. It'll be shipped if we have it available. Otherwise, you may be waiting for Black Friday or Christmas. It may not be available, and you're waiting a couple of months in order to get that product. So if you're hearing me and you're trying to make a decision, act quickly.
Yeah, very good point. So Rolando, these are fun tests. You know, I really like doing some of these demos. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on some of the product and putting them through some other types of noise tests. I was thinking about things like the snowblower, some fireworks. You know,
snowblower is up your alley, man. We get snow here in DC, but probably not as much as you guys get up in the New England area.
Yeah, so I think a real fun test will be me walking with the snowblower, wearing these. It'll test the water resistance.
Oh, that's true.
Test some of the range, the comfort. And just as a side note, I have worn some of these headsets on the phone with you while running my snowblower, and you've never said anything.
I have not noticed that. You know what'd be interesting? If you have lakes that probably get iced over, maybe like an ice fishing thing where you're like digging those holes where you can fish. Be an interesting one, right?
Yeah, you're bringing back childhood memories. We've never had a power auger. We used to use a hand chisel.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's hard.
18 inches of ice going around, cutting holes.
Oh,
yeah.
My word. My brother, so I went to college in Minnesota. My brother still lives there. Let me tell you, the first time I saw ice, a lake freeze over and cars pulling on it, I was scared to death. I'm like, I'm not walking on that. You're crazy. I'm not going out there, put my car out there so it could sink in the lake. I'm like, oh no, it's February. It's like 2 feet thick right now. I'm like, not me.
Yeah,
I don't trust it.
We see stories about vehicles falling through the ice, but every time I've gone out to the Midwest, yeah, like in Wisconsin, they just drive their cars right out there. In those same maniacs, I went ice fishing a couple years ago in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's up there.
And some of these folks were using their bare hands to clear out some of the ice and like grabbing the fish.
Oh yeah.
They're awesome. They are built different. Their blood is different than mine, and I thought I had some pretty thick blood.
Oh, you betcha. You betcha. The upper Midwest folk, you're watching us here from the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, even Iowa. That's considered upper Midwest. Thanks for watching us today, and send us some of those pics. I would love to see some ice picking with your favorite headset. And we have another pro tip. Neil, you are on fire. He should be the third member of the show for today. His pro tip is that the 5200, which I have here in my hand, he says when you're not wearing it, you can hook it over one of your shirt buttons. See, now I don't have a button because mine has no buttons, but I guess I could do this. Right?
Good work.
We'll have to try that, Dave. The next time I'm wearing a shirt with a button, I did not know that. Thank you, Neil. That'll have to go in one of our pro tip catalogs.
Very good. So, hey, listen, Rolando, before we wrap up the show, I'm kind of interested. I actually think I might know the answer. I shouldn't even be saying how confident I am.
Oh, yeah?
We're going to revisit the 2 truths and a lie. So why don't we throw that back up, Ori?
Go for it.
Oh, boy. 2 truths and a lie. 2 of these statements are true. The other is false. Which is it? Rolando, I'm going to give it over to you. Which one of these do you think is just a flat out lie?
Number 1. Numero uno. I give numero uno the flat out lie.
I also give number 1 the flat out lie. Ori, don't make us look stupid.
Nice. Yay! Okay. Awesome. That is good. Because, let's see, the Big Bang was noiseless. Everything in the universe expanded uniformly. So nothing came into contact with anything else. No contact, no sound waves.
Wow. That's awesome.
I knew there was something like, can you hear noise in outer space? Is that something? Can you hear? I mean, is there sound? We'll have to ask an expert. I don't think
if your wife screams at you in outer space,
you're going to hear it. So Krakatoa, it was the erupting of the volcano of Krakatoa was the loudest recorded in history in 1883. It says on the 27th, the volcanic island near Indonesia erupted with explosive power of 200 megatons of TNT. The eruption could be heard 3,000 miles away, making it the loudest noise in recorded history.
Wow, that's amazing.
3,000. You could hear it on the West Coast if it went off here.
Yeah. Crazy.
Imagine that. Your wife screams at you from LA and you're in Boston, Dave, and you hear it.
Yeah, I do believe it. And I like this one. So I don't think I have the name correct, but so this is also a true statement. In 1933, Paul Leeuwig proposed to silence sound waves by simultaneously generating waves of the exact opposite orientation. So anyone that understands the sine wave would understand that this is true. That's how true active noise cancellation is working. And that's, this is the same theory that some of these today's manufacturers that have active noise cancellation, that's kind of what they're leaning on to do just that. They're duplicating a complete opposite of what they're hearing in hopes of it, maybe not completely eliminating it, but definitely reducing that background noise. So that was a fun trivia. I'm glad that I got that right. I'm glad no one's keeping score. But
I'm sure somewhere there's a scoreboard.
There is. Everything will live on in internet history for sure.
Right. Well, if you've been watching this, I want to remind you to bump the like button. We appreciate you hanging on all the way to the end where we brought you this trivia nugget. And Dave and I have something for you special. So if you've listened all the way to the end, we've got some more stuff for you right up our sleeve. And you got some comments, suggestions, send them to us. We look at them. we may feature them in an upcoming segment or episode where Dave and I right now, we're going to highlight, and look at that, it says best noise canceling in the car as well as best noise canceling indoors. Dave and I are waiting for you in those 2 episodes. We'll see you then.